Oh wait, where are my glasses? I don't have my glasses. Oh well. Hello everybody. How are we doing today? We're gonna wait for a minute before we get started, but as you could probably tell by the title, we are going to be working on some dialogue stuff today. So for anybody who's followed before and who knows about the game, this is a game about climbing a tower to achieve ultimate glory, and as part of the sort of essence of the game and making sure it's got some extra layer of interest to it, I kind of want to hit a nice middle ground between Metroidvania and roguelike. And I think the best way to do that, instead of things like the upgrades and world building that you get in something like a Metroidvania, it's better to do that with the lore. And one of the main ways of conveying the lore in the game is going to be through dialogue, because that just makes the most sense. So we're working on a dialogue system today, and possibly some UI type stuff as well. We're going to need to create an icon to display when the player is next to the interactable object that triggers the dialogue. Sleepy. And we are going to possibly work on some animations as well if we have time, but it depends how speedy I can be with the actual coding of things. So we'll see. We'll wait until 8 o'clock before I start doing anything though. Just in case anyone else shows up and wants to watch from the start. I missed my upload this week for this Sunday. I didn't get around to making a video just because I've been procrastinating basically. The turnout on the last devlog has been absolutely insane though. Like, it's been up for just over a week now, and from that we've gained more than 150 subscribers, and it's the most viewed video, most commented video, most liked video on the channel. It's kind of insane. I don't know what happened, whether YouTube algorithm picked it up or something, or what, but yeah, it's properly skyrocketed. So I want to put a thank you out to anybody who's swung by and watched that video, and anybody who's joined the subscribers from that video, welcome, and I hope you enjoy what you see in these live streams. And yeah, it's good to have you here. So let's get into things. Before I begin, I'm going to talk about this nifty little thing over on the left here. So I've got a preliminary system. Hello to anyone who's just rocking up on YouTube/Twitch as well. Say hi in chat if you're about. So we're doing dialogue today. I have created a preliminary system for dialogue in the form of scriptable objects within Unity. So we have this dialogue scriptable object where I can like right click here, go create dialogue, and then I can create a dialogue entry, which is the actual dialogue itself, and I can create a speaker who is someone who delivers dialogue or something that delivers dialogue. So as part of that, I wanted a way of having it so that I could move between dialogue sections with ease and have options for the player to choose from, especially in conversations that you have with NPCs or something like the shopkeeper or another character, which I won't say too much about for the moment. So to do that, I've created a custom editor script, which allows me to represent these dialogue choices within the scriptable object and be able to add and remove them really easily. So I can just click the add dialogue button, and it adds in a new dialogue choice where you can say the text of the choice, so whatever the player would be saying, and then pick the dialogue object that leads onto. And you can add up to 3 and then the button disappears and you can remove it with the remove buttons. And it's a pretty basic extension, but it's just one of those things that's like, it makes life so much easier and just so much more straightforward to go with. So that's what we've got there, but we are going to get straight on and dive into some coding now, I think. Or no, let's do UI. Let's do UI, because UI is a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting to look at. So we are going to create a new canvas, or do I want to create a, what are you? You're just an empty game object, and then that's my canvas. So I think we'll do the same thing. We'll make a empty game object called, call this like in game UI. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you here again. In game UI. Do that like that. And I think, yeah, underneath that we can create a canvas for the, what's it called? What we're doing? Dialogue UI. And of course this is going to be screen space overlay. We want it to scale with the screen size and have the reference resolution set to 4K, which is 3840 by 2160. How are the sound levels, by the way? Anyone who's just rocked up, or anyone who's been watching for a while, hello if you've just rocked up. And what are the sound levels like? Because as per what I hear in my ears with regards to the music is different with regards to what sound you guys can hear. Should probably double check actually that it's working. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. I think my music is still going. Yeah, that's all right. Okay, so we've got our dialogue UI and that's all set up correctly. We're going to be using some placeholder stuff because I haven't got final graphics for the dialogue box yet, but we'll have an empty game object and this is going to be our dialogue box, and that's what we'll put our dialogue box script on as well. And underneath this we will create a UI panel. This is going to be our actual text box, which we will use basic square for that. I'm just going to take this menu as well, this pause menu, and set the alpha to 0 so I can see what I'm doing with this text box properly. Let's scale it up a nice bit. I want it to be, yep, stretch to fill, and we will make a nice big text box like this, which for the time being we'll have it come up at the top of the screen. Like the cube character better. Oh, it's a shame. I'm not going to go back to the cube character just because, like I said in the devlog, the new character is way more versatile from an animations point of view, and it better fits with the kind of creative direction that I want to go with the game, especially from a thematic point of view and in terms of colors and style and you know, all that fun stuff. It suits so much better than the cube guy did. I want to have this dialogue box be pretty, or while the game window be pretty big up there at the top, so I can see how this dialogue box is going to look in here, more or less. Suppose it's kind of hard to tell without a player. So let's sort of player, shall we? Just move this down to the ground, and I'll drag and drop a player in there. Prefabs. That's good to hear. There we go. Come here, little man. Drop him down there. It's kind of small, actually. It's hard to get an idea for like scale of things. I suppose it doesn't matter too much because I can change it. Oops. But we'll see. So under the text box, we're going to do UI Text Mesh Pro. Just as text. Let's up the font size to like 50. So that's nice and readable. Scale it up. Gonna want a bit of padding in from the left and right, maybe like 15? Nah, 25. Yeah. 25 from either side. I might take the font size up even more actually. Not that big. Maybe like 75. 60? 75. Placeholder dialog. This is a dialog box where text is written for player conversation. Yay, I guess. That works. As a placeholder, let's go back up here and start editing some things as well. Actually, I'm gonna make it smaller. It's too big still. Oh well, too big now. Just make it. Make it something like that, I guess. It's kind of hard to decide on a scale without any reference for text I'm going to stick in there, but like I say, it's all kind of placeholder stuff that can change in future. I'm going to drag and drop the button prefab into here. You know what? We're actually going to make a variant. So we'll unpack prefab. These ones, I want the button itself to have an image component, which is going to be square. The text should be center aligned now. And we'll also set the pivot to be in the middle. And we will set it to be a stretch to fill. Just gonna nab the color from here for the oopsie daisy. That's not what I wanted. In fact, we'll delete that image from there. And instead, we are going to change the text to dialog option. Going to set the font size down to something like 50. So it's a bit more in line with the style of the box. We will drop the opacity a little bit. I'm not sure why I'm spending so much time working on this, because like I say, it's all placeholder. So this guy is going to be should be over to the side or down at the bottom. Could have the choices along the bottom. I guess that doesn't really matter either. Let's stick them at the bottom for the time being. When did I think of the name Shiba Dog Studio? That's a good question, actually. I genuinely don't know how I came up with that or how it happened. It just kind of did. I like Shibas anyway because they're like one of my favorite dog breeds. Yeah, I don't know why I picked the name. It probably is just because of that, but the logo ended up being really easy to create as well, and all of the branding around that with the colors and stuff was really easy to. It was just an easy flow to go with, and it looks so good in my opinion now that I don't really want to make much change to it, or yeah, I don't have any issues with it, and it's kind of cool, especially with the hoodie designs and stuff that are happening at the moment. Yeah, it's kind of cool. But yeah, I'm not sure not sure where the name came from. I'm getting picky about visuals when I really shouldn't be. I'm gonna take it and stick it over here like this, and I'm going to save it as a prefab now. Dialogue button. Oh, I've done that wrong. Oh well. I can fix that later. What I wanted to do was save it as a prefab variant, so if I make any changes to a button generally, it'll still apply to these dialogue option buttons as well, which we are going to have up to 3 of, and then position better on the side of the screen. No, we're not. I'm being stupid. Tell you what, this is what happens when you go into something without a plan. You just this doesn't go to plan at all, because there is no plan. I want to have a group. What we're doing, empty, not under dialogue. Actually, no, yeah, it is under the dialogue box. This is going to be options holder buttons. Options buttons, we'll call it. Buttons, like that. And I'm going to stick a grid layout group on this one. Start corner is going to be upper left. We want the axis to be vertical. Child alignment upper left. Constraint fixed. Column count. We want 1 column. It's going to mess with my UI, but we can work with it. Gotta just bring this way up. Call it 600. Maybe we'll call it 650. So that we got a bit of extra space, and we'll make the height like 350. No, not that big. 250. Not that big either. Let's go 600 by 200. Cool. Add a bit of spacing. Do like 25. And I actually want the lower left to be the start corner. We'll do middle center alignment. What happens if I keep adding more? Oh, it just scales them around the middle. Hello, hello. How you doing? We're working on dialogue today. Thank you for your comment on the devlog, by the way. It was a good reassuring one. It's always nice to get comments like that on the devlogs. Especially like I was saying at the start of the live stream, the last devlog did so well out of nowhere. I was really blown away by the response. And all the feedback just, you know, always means a lot, positive and negative. As long as it's constructive, I pay attention to it and take it on board as best I can. So it's always really cool to see. Oops, I did those numbers the wrong way around. That should be a 0, that should be an 8. There we go. But yeah, it's good to see you here. How you doing? I'm thinking child alignment lower center. Then if I duplicate buttons, it should keep making them up the top. And that is exactly what it does. Cool. So that's what I want to happen. So we're going to have it about here-ish. I think. Call it negative 280. Because I like me round numbers. Good, good, good. Whoa, I don't know about that. But thank you. I'll be honest, full disclaimer. There's a lot of like things that I can sort of mask with the devlogs in terms of like having things sitting in the back and whatnot. Like here we go. Let's have a look actually, because I haven't shown the new animations that I've been working on since with the wall sliding and stuff. Thanks, man. It really means a lot, genuinely. Like I feel like saying it constantly can make people think that it's less genuine, or it can come across as less genuine, but honestly I didn't have any expectation of like things being anywhere near as like going as well as they're going right now. Like we've gone in the last week, we've gone from 170 subs up to 321. The last devlog in a week has gone from no views up to like nearly 2,000, 1,500. It's outperformed the first video on the channel. I'm blown away, and it really genuinely means the world that people are interested in this buggy little game that I'm working on. So yeah, it's brilliant. So character animations that I was adding in, there's the wall slide and wall jump animations, which at the moment look kind of shoddy, because I need to, first of all, I need to work on getting the values for actual wall jumping correct again after restarting, so that he doesn't just kind of slide up the wall and hop off like it's nobody's business. And I also need to do a bit of work on the animation as well, because it's that, specifically that wall jump animation is kind of, let's see if I can pause it and step through. You can see it's a bit janky, so that's something to work on. And I've also been working on the back-end code for the item system again, so that's all in place. And if we have time in this live stream, we're going to move on to doing some of the UI for that, because all the code is there. It just needs to actually be implemented. Next question, why no hands? Well, the reason that there's no hands is, one, I'm a bit lazy and I didn't really want to try and draw good arms, but two, and the more like appropriate reason, is kind of in the philosophy of Nintendo's design pattern, with the sort of thought process of function over form, in the sense that have the game design and the mechanics rule the design of the aesthetics and things like that. So the game being combat exclusively through jumping on things and sliding into them with your legs, I was kind of like, there's no mechanic in the game that requires the player to have hands, so why should the player have hands? It's just an unnecessary extra step that I don't think really I need to spend the time working on, especially being the perfectionist type person that I am. I could get like stuck trying to animate hands for a very long time, and yeah, I don't want to get stuck down that rabbit hole for reasons mentioned in one of my other videos about scope creep, which you should totally go watch if you haven't already. Tried messing around with game design, very interested in everything, new game code, awesome. Honestly, I've been doing this since I was 10. So that's like 11, nearly 12 years that I've been learning programming and Unity and game design theory and things like that, and I still barely know any of it. It's like, it's nice that people think I know what I'm doing, because there's a lot of things where I'm like, don't know what I'm doing at all, and it's kind of a play it by ear and see if it works, but it's like you say, it's fun stuff to mess around with, and if I can help people like you out and share what little knowledge I have in the process, that's always a bonus, on top of what I'm doing anyway. Assassin Gamer, hello, how are you doing? Good to see you in here again. Oh, you're my 230th subscriber. That's awesome. It's nice when it's round numbers. Round numbers make me happy. That's really cool though. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Sandra. It's happy times. Happy times. Okay, we're gonna let's get back on the train. Back on the train of some actual development. So we've got these dialogue buttons, which we are going to enable and disable as we go through the or maybe we'll just spawn them. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I want to add one more icon, which is just a little triangle, you know, your standard triangle that you get at the bottom of a text box to say there's no dialogue to go through. So we will do that now. We're going to have UI image. There it is. We are going to use a triangle. Can I use a triangle? It doesn't look like it likes the triangle. It doesn't look like it likes the triangle. So we're going to use a square. And we're going to rotate it through 90 degrees, 45 degrees even. Said that in a very American way. Oh, does it not let me do that either? Or did I just rotate it on the wrong axis? That's exactly what I did. 45 degrees. Hello, hello. How are you doing today? I wish I could use a triangle, trust me, friend. I really do. Welcome. This is the first stream you've come to as well, isn't it? This is my my fun game design. Anybody, if you see an ultraviolet sky, just post a message in chat. Go subscribe. He's a friend of mine who posts Pokemon content. He's doing like a randomizer or some kind of Pokemon randomizer style thing playthrough, which I kind of know about because I do Ocarina of Time randomizers with my brother sometimes. But go give him a subscribe. He deserves it. I'm making it a diamond. Diamond is where it's at. It fits with the pause menu as well, with the icon that. Oh, I have a graphic for that. Where is it? That one. There we go. Let's set the scale back up to 1:1:1. Why is it so small? Why is it so small? Oh, it's because of the rotation. Oh, I've got it under the options button as well. I want it to be under there, and then we will... No? Okay then. Let's do a little. See, the problem I've got here is that I created the graphic incorrectly, so I'm gonna have to do some editing to these things eventually, but you know, this will do for the time being. Awesome, good man. My friend, you're very welcome. You deserve it. You deserve it. And if you ever want any help with stuff like the branding or anything of your channel, give me a holler, because I enjoy doing that stuff. Is Job Game going to be a goofy platform? What do you mean? Can you expand the question a little bit? Because if it's a like a game development industry question, then that's I'll be interested to talk about that, especially with the rest of you guys in the stream who are interested in game development yourself as well. Hey, thank you, friend. Thank you. Okay, that's looking good. That's looking good. Right. I'm going to hit save on this, and we're also going to hit apply on the game manager so that this shows up everywhere where I have a game manager. As you can see, there's a lot more stuff going on here now. I've started making some changes. Okay, so first of all, what I want to do, I want to do this dialog box controller script, which I started working on following Thomas Brush's 2D game kit, which if you don't know it and you're making a 2D game and you want to get started quickly, a lot of the code now that I've got is based off of that, with bits of Sebastian Lake and then me tweaking stuff so that it works for my purposes. But as a way of getting started, especially if you're someone who doesn't know to code, you should definitely check it out. I'll add a link in the description to this stream at the end of the stream if you want to check it out, if you're hanging about that long, or if you come back to the upload after it's up, you'll be able to check it out there. But that's kind of where I got to the whole midpoint of me messing around with this this new dialogue system and this editor scripting and stuff. So yeah, we're building off of that, but we're going to do most of this stuff from scratch now, because there's things about the way that stuff is implemented in that kit that I don't like personally. That's not to say they're wrong, but I'm not a fan of them, so I'm going to change them. Before we get started though, is your game going to be a serious platformer with mysteries and some serious stuff, or a goofy platformer? Just seeing here the music is pretty serious. Yes, okay, cool. So it's moving in a more serious direction, and it's been a kind of tricky thing to think about, because the only game that I've ever released was an entry to the 2015 Ludum Dare 32, Ludum Dare, whichever it is, where I made a game about a guy who wanted to be an astronaut and couldn't go to astronaut camp because he got a cold, which got like everyone loved it for its comedy value and how entertaining and funny it was. So I kind of thought maybe that's something to go with, as a kind of comedy element, especially with the mustachio shopkeeper and the little square man and things like that. Hello, Wandering Pixel, good to see you. But the general direction that I want to go with it, especially with the games that I'm really into at the moment as well, like Hollow Knight and games by Thomas Brush, that are, you know, quite emotionally based and have a lot of backstory to them. I feel like it doesn't match up too well to have it be a super comedic game with that kind of more serious backside. So predominantly it will be a serious game from a lore perspective, but there will be like comedy relief from some characters in there as well, like the shopkeeper, who I intend on leaving to have that big funny mustache, and various characters that you can find around the tower as you're playing through. So yeah, it will be a kind of funny in places, serious themed game. Cool, that's nice to hear. I've got to be careful not to get too Thomas Brushy. Like it's cool that people can see the inspiration, but I'm not gonna get too carried away. Got to keep it me at the same time. Which will come with the touches of things like Alto's Adventure and stuff as well. So yeah, it's all a work in progress, and we will get there as we get there. Right, so I'm actually gonna have this kind of similar to the menu controller, because this has an array of menu buttons which I want to have these menu buttons on. So I might actually have it inherit from menu, you know. That could be a move. That could be a good move. Awesome. That's really cool. It's nice knowing that the creative direction of the game is conveying properly, because I think that's probably one of the biggest fears I have with the game, is having these you know, pretty major titles, critically acclaimed titles, that I'm like, I want to make a game like that, which is ambitious, but more realistic these days with the improvements to things like Unity and Unreal and engines like that. It's a lot more possible for a person to do that type of thing. And I think as well, making the decision to steer away from pure Metroidvania and go down the roguelike route with procedural generation, I don't have to spend ages working on content. I don't have to spend ages worrying about masses of in-game story or in-game flow. I can just think about designing the enemies and designing some world areas and making sure they fit together nicely, and balancing all of the things, and then weaving the lore in and about the characters and the things, which that's one of the things that I intend on having the game, is even though you die in the game and that means you start again, as is the nature of not Metroidvanias, nature of roguelikes, that death is permanent and you have to start from zero, that isn't actually, you don't go back to the start of the game, you just go back to the bottom of the tower. And that might not make sense right now, but when we get to the point where I'm working in that core loop, it'll make a lot more sense. It'll be a lot more clear to anyone who plays. Where's my dialogue box controller? That's my editor script. If anyone's interested in the editor script for the dialogue system, or the dialogue system generally, let me know in a comment on any of my videos or in the chat for this live stream, because I'm debating sticking it up as a reward on my Patreon, or sticking it up as a thing on the what's-a-majignet asset store. That's the one. So yeah, let me know. Is it some sort of save point similar to the bonfire mechanic in Dark Souls? I'm not sure yet. So Spelunky is the main inspiration. Games like Spelunky and Downwell, those two games were the first for the mechanical point of view of the game. It was like Downwell, but instead of going down, you're going up. Which, if you don't know, my friend, Downwell is a roguelike game which was designed to be Spelunky for mobile, and you play as a guy, you're just falling down a well, trying to get to the bottom to save your cat from the bottom of this well. And I want to create a quick fire game like that, the type of thing that you could finish in like an hour or two. You could play through the whole game. It's not like a super lengthy core finishing point. That said, though, I do want to have yeah, Upwell. That's the spin-off title. Let's do a mobile release and call it Upwell. That's funny. That's made me laugh. Oh, what was I saying? My train of thought, it's gone. Yes, Spelunky. So yeah, I want to have like secret endings and little extra things as well, like you have in Spelunky with the eggplant runs and things like that. So it could be beneficial to have like something like Enter the Gungeon has, where if you get to the end of a world, you can rest and then come back to it at that point. That's probably what I'll do, to be fair, is have like save points between worlds. And make it so that you can have one save at any given time and come back to the last run that you were doing at the end of a world, after you've beaten a boss, or potentially before you've beaten the boss. But we'll see. I'm not completely sure yet. Recently binged your videos in one day. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I like to put the time and effort into my stuff, because I want to bring value to you guys. I want to show you the process and hopefully be able to teach some things, or give you guys who are in it for game development reasons yourself have some takeaway, and people who are interested in just playing games and want to know a bit more about the process behind. That's the purpose of the channel, really, is to open that world up for everybody. Would be cool, but lots of replayability and lots of extra things. Won't be an amazing game. Hold on, let me read that again so I process it right. That would be cool, but I think if you have a lot of replayability, well, lots of extra things to it with secrets, that won't be an amazing game. Yeah, maybe. Oh, it would be an amazing game. Wait. Would or wouldn't? I'm lost, I'm confused. I like the replayability is definitely like a high point, because like I say, I only want a run to take like an hour to 2 hours if you're playing it casually, and then moving at speed, someone could finish it in like 30 minutes if they're like properly good at the game, is the idea, because I want to keep it open for speedrunners as well, so that I can, you know, have it be good for streaming, and send it to, I've got a list of people that I'm gonna send it to when the demo's available, so I'm hoping that I can hit on a system or a game style that suits that kind of replayable stream vibe, and things like the secrets and stuff like that. Again, in the ilk of Nintendo, or the vibe of Nintendo is, you know, the idea that it's kind of like Othello. It's easy to play but hard to master, and the people who want to just come in and play it casually can do that. The skill floor isn't so high that it blocks off the players who aren't very good at games, like me. I'm terrible at games. Never finished Spelunky. Played it loads of times but never finished it. Never finished Downwell. Played it loads of times, but I'm not good enough at games to finish it. And definitely couldn't do something like the eggplant run, but those kinds of things are there to reward the people with the skill and the desire to go exploring. Like, you know, the extra things that you get in Hollow Knight, where, you know, those extra mask fragments that you find after killing the brooding whatsamajignet, Morling, or whatever it's called, the big thing with floppy arms and teeth mouth, or doing the extra side quest with the traitor lord and stuff like that. It's not there to enhance the core game. It's there for the people who are better than the core game, and it's like a reward, like an Easter egg that doesn't bring any extra value to the game particularly, but it's like, I appreciate the fact that you've got the skill to get this far. Here's a reward for that. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. Definitely check out Downwell. Definitely check out Downwell if you haven't. It's proper easy. It's like maybe £1 on mobile, I think. Maybe 69p or something. It's real cheap, and it's just like, you could sit there playing it for hours. It's like an arcade game. It's brilliant. Yeah, do it. Right. Let's have a looky here. I need to... I'm trying to think of a good way to do this, representing the buttons. Because I'll tell you what, let's just start this again. Let's start this again. Right. So we want a public current dialogue, like that, and we also then want a private, no, not private, public. I'm thinking an array of dialogue choices. So I'm actually going to create a public struct dialogue choice, which will have a public menu button choice button and a public text mesh pro text mesh pro UGY button text, and then we will have a public array of dialogue choices. Choice is like that. Yeah, I think that should work. At my school, when I tell my teacher something and she starts talking to me, she talks to someone else, but when she comes back to talking to me, she completely forgot. Yeah, it's hard to keep track of multiple conversations, you know. Especially then, I fully lost my train of thought. Right, yes. So let's do a little thingy here. We are going to have a method show dialogue, which will I've got to think about how I've designed this. So a dialogue object has, it's got an array of entries. So we're just going to have an array, I guess. Perform dialogue. And we'll have two methods. We'll have a void display standard and void display choices, like that. So we are going to say for int I equals 0 no, we're not. We're going to have a private int current dialog entry, which is going to be equal to 0 by default. Let's get rid of this perform dialog. We're going to have a public void update dialog entry, which is going to take in a dialog, and we are going to say this dot current dialog equals dialog. So set the dialog in this to be the current dialog that we have, and then we will do call a method called display entry. What code editor do I use? It's Visual Studio. It kind of just looks like mono behavior used to when it was a thing with Unity, but it's the Mac edition of Visual Studio, and it's actually quite nice. I used to not be a fan of Visual Studio, and then we ended up using it. I used it for a university thing. One of my university assignments, and then I've been using Visual Studio Code at work as well for like scripting and stuff. So I'm actually quite a fan of it now. It's got good code completion features and stuff. So yeah, good choice. Okay, display entry. We are going to do if current dialog entry is equal to current dialog dot entries dot length -1. So if we're on the last entry, if current dialog dot choices options, honestly, no consistency, dot count is greater than 0. So if we actually have choices to pick from, we will display choices. Do the display choices method. Else I need to think about the flow of things here. So this is deciding if we want to... This is me talking it through now so that I can figure out the logic myself. But also, explain it to you guys. I definitely know what I'm doing. Cough. So if dialog entry is... if we're on the last option, then we're going to say if we've got choices to pick from, display the choices. Otherwise, tell you what, first things first, we want to actually display the text, so we are going to say brain, I need a reference to the text public text mesh pro UGUI, and this is going to be my dialog text. We're going to say dialog text.text equals current dialog dot entries, and we're going to pass in the index that we're currently on, which is current dialog entry. I feel like that's a poor variable name. I'm going to get confused, but we'll go with it. So, first things first, we display the text name. Well, we set the text to the value that we want. Then, if we're on the last entry, if there's options, we're going to display those options. Otherwise, we are going to display choices like that. The issue I have with this now is if this is also false, if we're not on the last option, we are also going to display choices. And that doesn't sit right with me because we are now calling the same method in 2 different places when we could only be calling it in one. Oh wait, I'm calling the wrong method as well. Pay attention. I'm one of the first YouTubers to shout you out on stream. Well, I'm more than happy to. I honestly, like I keep saying, I really appreciate anybody who comes and hangs out for these live streams and watches the devlogs and leaves comments and chats in the chat as well. It's really, really nice to talk to you guys, and really, it's good motivation, and the feedback just helps make the game better. So, you know, you're very welcome. Very welcome. My phone's going off, but it's locked me out with my face scan. So yeah, this situation here, I'm not a fan of that, but we'll come back to it and sort it later because I don't want to sort it right now. So, for display standard, I feel like this is a really bad way of doing things, but I'm gonna go with it as we are. Display standard, we are simply going to do animator.set trigger. No, we'll do set ball. No, we'll do set trigger. Trigger. Or will we? Yes, we will. We will do set trigger. I'm just thinking about how, because I'm going to do this all with animations, in terms of, you know, the UI actually doing things. We're going to animate the UI for different cases. So the box is going to have a like a default animation with the next button kind of floating up and down, and we'll have it be there when you don't have choices and not be there when you do. So my kind of thought is, if we set trigger next text or something like that, we'll call it next text, then it will just do a little bump like that. Tell you what, we're going to rename this method as well to display next entry, because that's more descriptive of what it's doing. And then at the end of this case, no matter what we do, we want to say current dialog entry ++. So we increase the current entry by 1. And for display standard, we are simply just going to do this next text. For that. For the display choices, it's going to be a little bit more complex, because we first of all need to update the text of all the buttons that have text. So this array is always going to be 3 buttons. We'll work it as we're going along. So first of all, I'm going to nab the invoke from my menu controller. Here we go. So we've got a fun little... there should be a... In the menu activation, there should be a... Oh, it is this one. A little activate. And we will stick that in there, and that's going to go at the bottom. So instead of buttons, we're going to do for our choices.length, we are going to do choices I dot choice button dot invoke, and that's all good. So that's that step, but of course before we activate them we want to make sure that we update the text for them as well. So we are going to say choices not choices. Oh no, yeah. Let's copy and paste this. No, that's not copy. Stop being lazy, Cuba. Choices I dot button text dot text equals, and we are going to set it to current dialog dot choices options options I. Dot choice text. There we go. I forget that an option has the text that goes with it and the dialogue that it leads to, so we're gonna do that. And I tell you what, let's also have a public dialogue next. My choice. Whoops. Choice. My dialogue object. Call it that. Just so that we can set everything nicely. So we'll say choices I dot dialogue object equals current dialogue and current dialogue dot options I dot next dialogue. So that means everything's stored nicely in our options. So, and then we will say we'll also do animator dot trigger set trigger next text. I think that's gonna work. Honestly, man, I am. This isn't gonna work. It's not gonna work. There's gonna be holes. There's gonna be bugs we have to fix. But that's the fun bit. Cough. Not really. That's the interesting bit. I think, to be fair, where we're at right now is pretty. Pretty good. This should do the job, to be fair. So I'll tell you what, now that we've done that, let's make a dialogue option as an example that we can use. We're not going to worry about the speaker for the moment because that's more to do with the graphics. I want to have it so that anything that can show that can give dialogue has its own custom border for the dialogue boxes. Which there aren't going to be many characters that can talk in the game. There'll be lore objects like plaques and tablets and things, which will all be the same. There's the shopkeeper, and then there's about 3 other characters as well, which are important enough to have their own dialogue box. And then the buttons themselves will have an outline to represent the player. But we're going to use this new dialogue object, which I'm going to call default. No, I'm going to call it test dialogue. Test dialogue. Like so. I'll create a speaker for it in a moment as well, and we'll give it. Let's give this one 3 entries, and it's going to say, "Hi there, I'm a default dialogue entry. As you can see, I don't have interesting things to say. I'm a pretty cool system though, don't you think? And then we'll add some options. We'll add a couple of options. We'll have one saying, nah, not really. And then another one saying, really cool. Like that. And we're going to want to create 2 more. Create dialogue entry. This is going to be not cool. Entry 1. Have the text be no need to be so mean. ... And then another ending. It's gonna be cool. One entry. I knew you'd agree. We'll actually make it 2. I knew you'd agree. I'll see you round. Like that. And I'm going to make a folder for it because I want my thing to be neat. Create folder dialogue. Create another folder under that called testing. And I will just stick all of them under there for the time being. Okay, so our dialogue UI, I think I think this one has the dialogue box controller on it. So we'll have an animator on the dialog box itself. The yeah, this is an array of thing that I can't set. I can work through it. Okay, so problem number 1, I don't have a way of initializing these things, so I'll tell you what, let's have a public menu button array called choice buttons. I'll make this one private, and then create a public void start, not public, public. And in here we will say for int I equals 0, I is less than choice buttons dot length I plus plus, and we will just go through and say choices I dot choice button choice button equals choice buttons I. And of course we need to make sure before we do that we set our choices array equal to new dialog choice of length choices buttons choice buttons dot length, like so. What's my favorite cartoon? Oh, Steven Universe is a good choice. That is a good choice indeed. I think for me it would probably be Cartoon Network, probably Adventure Time, to be honest. Adventure Time's the most lore-y of the kind of 3 that were Adventure Time, Regular Show, and The Amazing World of Gumball, which all started around about when I finished primary school, which makes me feel really old. But oh god, that was years ago now. That was like 11 years ago. But when they all start, I remember when Regular Show first started and watching that. That was probably the most entertaining of the 3 from a comedy point of view. Was Regular Show, and then Adventure Time is definitely up there in terms of like watching it for the plot. It's got such a good story behind it, especially as it started developing into later entries, and I'm really annoyed that Cartoon Network cancelled it when they did, because it kind of felt, the ending felt a bit rushed, especially the final episode. There was so much more potential for it to be really amazing there, which is a shame, and I'm kind of sad about that, but what can you do, eh? What can you do? Right, so the dialogue text is this one. Current dialogue we are going to set to our test dialogue. The animator we will add presently, but the choice buttons we want to lock this and add all of these choice buttons in here. Now, there's an extra step that I've forgotten, which is really important, and that's to go in here and say instead of choices.length, we want to do current dialogue dot and choices options options.length count, even because it's a list, not an array. Reason we want to do that is because we might not always have 3. We can have up to 3 choices in our dialogue, but we might only have 1, or we might only have 2. So we only want to display that many buttons as we're going through. We don't want to display all 3. If that's the case. We also don't have any way of clicking buttons yet. So I need to sort that out. Yes, he is. He did Close Enough, and I've watched some of it, and it's very funny. On Netflix, it's quite entertaining, and it's funny to look at because it literally is just Mordecai. Like, the guy who plays Mordecai and wrote Regular Show is literally just Mordecai. That is his personality. It's really funny. And his voice doesn't change at all either. I've watched like the first 4 episodes of it, and it was pretty hilarious. So I'll probably watch the rest at some point when I get around to it. Good show though. Should definitely watch it if you were a fan of Regular Show. Alan, I'm looking at you. Right. Let us animate this dialogue box. I'm actually going to do the animation window down here. And we are going to go to animations, UI, new folder, dialogue, window, and this is going to be our next dialogue. So this is literally going to be like a boom, like a little downwards press to the record button. And oh no, I need to move it. Okay, there we go, that works. I'm gonna go 1 frame forward and move it down, so that way we get the we get it cached what position it was at in the first place, and we'll have that at like frame 10. or maybe even frame 5. We want it to be quite snappy. No, 7. And then we'll have it finish like frame 20. Here we'll have it move slightly higher and then slightly lower again. So I'll literally be like a dunk. I want that to be quick. I need to make sure this isn't going down further than this one as well. I managed to move it to almost the exact same place. What we're doing, 84 down to 48. Let's do that to 45. $95, 55, 84. There we go. That looks kind of good. Can everybody see that on screen all right? I imagine it's probably a little bit small. Let's scale that up a little bit and shrink this window. So that's that animation. It looks a bit wacky. I'm gonna delete the first frame and take the whole thing and shift it over. Oopsie daisy, not like that. Shift it over to 0. So it starts down. Because we want it to be instant, snappy animation when it happens. And I'll bring that back to 15 and this back a little bit and that one back a little bit as well. So it's boing, kind of bounces a bit. I think that goes too far, 70. Possibly not even 70. We might go 75. Yeah, there we go, that's cool. Cool. We will have a dialogue idle, dialogue underscore idle, which is literally just going to be this this little image. We're going to have it float up and down slowly. Frame 30, we'll move it down a little bit. And then we'll copy paste the last frame. Copy, paste, preferably at frame 60. You know, I'm not even going to have it move down that much. What does it start at? 172, so we'll have it move down to, let's say, 184. I need the 1 in there. There we go, just a real subtle float. The buttons already have animations, so I don't need to worry about animating those. What I do need to do is create a new clip for dialogue underscore open. I probably should have done close first, actually. That would have been smart. We'll just grab the whole box and zip it off the top like that. Just have it sitting nicely on the edge. And I'm going to take those and flip them around so it pops in to where it's meant to be, and that's going to go straight into the next dialogue. So I'll kind of slide in and then do the bounce thing with the text. What I do want to do though is try and figure out for the life of me how the Unity curves work, which I can never seem to do, because I want this curve to be way nicer basically. Zoom out a bit, there we go. So I want this one, I think, to go like... Oh, I can't drag it out. I want it to start quick and then slow down. So I think we do something like that. And then it should... So that's cool. Go back to the dope sheet. In fact, I might take this and just shift it back. And now we've got to go back into the curves and fix that curve. Because the Unity curve editor is not fantastic for animation, I must say. There we go. That's better. So now it kind of slides in nicely. Looking cool? We happy? Everyone good? So then we are going to copy those. We are going to do dialog close, close, and we're going to paste. But we are going to flip it the other way around. So where's that finish in? 20. Drag this round to 40, and then drag the whole thing back to 0. So now we've got a nice dialog close animation as well. Okay, so this is going to be kind of tricky to test without the but I guess first things first, let's hit save, and we will go in here into our dialog box animator. I'm going to move the animation window back up to here now because I don't need it anymore. And we want the dialog open to be our... In fact, we don't want that to be our default state. What I probably want to do is on the dialog box, let's unlock the UI so I can see what's what. Oh, I've actually anchored the animated the canvas. Okay, cool. No, I have animated the right thing. I don't want to be animating the canvas. Yes, and the animator is on the box. Okay, so let's drag and drop that in there. Apologies, I lost my train of thought for a moment there. I feel like this is going to come back to bite me in the butt later. And I'm going to have to redo a bunch of stuff, but we keep moving. We keep moving. Is my game in real time? What do you mean? Is it in real time? Like, is there a system that maps up with real time world time? Or how so do you mean? Dialog box, and we want a canvas group. So I can set the alpha. And I want to go onto my dialog close animation. I want to just go here, add a new frame to set the alpha to 0. Drag that to there as well. No, it's not. Oops, I moved the wrong keyframe. I'm wanting to add a dark level system, so, and I intend on linking that to real time rather than having it be like thanks, rather than having it be a what's a majignit? What am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? Yeah, rather than having it be random chance, have it be that like every 15 minutes or something it is a day-night cycle. So because you're in a tower where the ambience and the lighting comes from the outside world and a sun, 15 minutes in game would actually be a whole day. No, 15 minutes in real life would be a day in the game type thing. And yeah, I'm kind of thinking I want to do something like that. But there's no like lighting in terms of shadows or stuff, so there's not going to be any physical day-night cycle. It would just be a case that you'd, you know, if you spend too much time in one place, you'd get a dark level, where you'd have like a vignette surrounding the players, and it would look dark on screen. Similar to Spelunky or Dashing Fire by Blackthorn Prod is my my thinking. There's one other thing I need to do, which is dialogue _ hidden, which is literally just going to be an alpha of 0. For the purposes of checking that things are working, we are going to say that dialogue open is the default layer state. So, by my judgment, when we start, it's going to update the choices, and I want to call update dialogue entry. No, I don't. I want to call... Actually, no, I do. I'm going to call update dialogue entry with the dialogue that we've currently got, which is current dialogue. Just so I can see that things are working. So, when we hit play, we should have no buttons pop up. And the text box should kind of slide in from the top and display the right text. Oh. Callum, if you're still watching, what did I say? It's displaying the right text. We've just got the animations are not set right. So we want that to go to dialogue idle. Okay, so now we're setting up the animation tree. Our default state is going to be this dialogue open. That's going to go to dialogue idle, which is going to go to next dialogue like so. And then back once the animation is done. We need to set triggers for all of these things. So we're going to have did I call it next entry? Next text. So this transition is not going to have an exit time. We are going to have no transition, and we want it to be when next text is triggered. And then that's going to transition back pretty sharpish with an exit time. That's going to have an exit time. I think we can live with the transition like that. And then dialogue close is going to go from dialogue idle to here when a trigger called close is fired off. No exit time, minimal transition when close is fired. And dialogue hidden eventually is going to be our default state. because we want that to be what the box looks like when we start the game. We don't want it to just off the screen or onto the screen and then back off the screen. So yeah, we're going to do it like that. So now if we press the play button, we're going to have much the same issue. Actually, we shouldn't. It should work now, but we still have some other things that we need to change to make sure things work as they should. There we go. So that's come in and we've got our little button floating. But it's not perfect, because we can still run about and it's, yeah, not great. So we want to, first of all, let's look at our animations. We're going animations, UI, dialog window. So dialog close, we want loop time to be off. Dialog idle, we want to keep it looping. Open, no loop. Next dialog, no loop. And hidden, we can also say no loop because it just saves on some running. So let's press play again. There it is. If I hit next text, you can see it triggers off and we get our little bob up and down. And if I say close, it goes away. Cool. So then we want to trigger a transition from here to here as well. And we'll have a, I'm actually gonna, instead of close, I'm going to have a boolean for in dialog. And we'll say this is going to be if in dialog is false. And this is going to be if in dialog is true. Again, no exit time. We'll have a bit of a transition there as well. Let's have a look how that looks. So, in dialog true. If I said it's false, it disappears. If I said it's true, it comes in. Set the trigger. That does the next animation, and we can spam that pretty quickly, and it kind of goes. And then we set it to that, and it goes away. Cool. So that's our animations kind of set up. So what we need to do now, I need to put in some support for the actual menu options, which is where I get to the point where I think maybe I should be having this extend the menu class. It would be nice to have that done in this live stream, so that I always like to finish things off on a nice round finish. So I'm going to just add a new section at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. UI input methods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So, public void confirm if no worries. It's like I say, good to have you around and pleasure talking to you in the stream as well. Hopefully we'll see your face again before the end. We're going to go for another 30 minutes plus minus, so might see you, but if I don't, take care, and thanks again for the 230th sub and for hanging around for the devlogs. Always a pleasure. Thanks very much, man. Right, I need to think about how I'm doing this now, because we've got a situation where the confirm button is going to be pressed to go through text at any point, basically. Whether there's an option or not. So I might say we might have another private bool picking option is equal to false by default. Yeah, that works. So if picking option, we want to basically do update dialog entry with no, we don't. I'm being stupid. This confirm. If we're picking an option, we want to say, oh yeah, see, this is where I need the menu stuff for these buttons. I'm going to ignore that case for the moment because the next case is easy and I can come back to it. So if we're not picking an option, we simply want to say if current dialog entry, so the value that we've currently got for dialog entry is equal to, greater than or equal to, should never be greater than, but if it is greater than or equal to current dialog dot entries dot length, we can say animator dot set bool in dialog, and we'll set it to false. Otherwise, whoops, we are going to simply do display next entry. Simple as that. What I'm thinking now is if maybe I should have the instead of having this array of menu buttons, what if I have an actual menu that I can enable, but I want to be able to set these text things. So I might just have some duplicate code, which is again not ideal and not what I want to be doing, but I can't think of a better way to do it right now. Yeah, I'm not sure there is a, just with the way it's set up, I can always go back and refactor. I suppose the issue then is with the way the input's set up with the game manager, I have to think about that. Meh. Tell you what, I'm going to do this in a somewhat jammy way, where I'm not going to pay too much attention to actually integrating it, because I just want to make sure that the system itself works. So let's nab some methods. So this is going to be no, I won't worry about a comment there for now. So it just doesn't. It doesn't sit right. It doesn't sit right. Okay. That's an option. Okay, we will have this inherit menu. Inherit from menu, and we will, in our menu, I think I should be able to make these virtual so I can override them, and that shouldn't break anything. Yeah. 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 Have that be an override. I think I can do that. Oh, I can't do that, no. So I need to stick new somewhere. Is it there? No, is it here? There we go, public new void start. So we're going to do this instead of the menu start method, because I don't want to use the default. Alright, my man. Much appreciate you coming along. It's cool to see you here, friend. I hope you come to the next one next Tuesday. But have a good evening, and I'll see you on Thursday. See you on Thursday for some more shenanigans. Are there teachers for dirt bikes so children can learn how to ride dirt bikes? I imagine so. This is a random question. It doesn't really apply to anything I know about anyway. Oh, funny. Enjoy, my friend. See you soon. Right, what I'm gonna do is dock this one over here so I can be looking at the menu at the same time. Choice related methods. So we are going to have our public override void change button. We're not going to do the base, but we are going to have some pretty similar code. I do want to have a private int. Don't need that. I don't need that because I'm inheriting. So I can just paste it in. Paste the content in. And anywhere where it says buttons, we are going to do choices dot. No, I want to do current dialogue dot options dot count. And this will be options. No. what did I call them? Choices. Choices dot choices I dot choice button dot change state, and choices button index dot choice button dot change state. So that's something that will give us the button changing for choices. And this display choices kind of overrides the change state for the buttons. But you know what, we will do an override change state bool new state override public. And then here we can say if new state is equal to true, which is verbose. I don't need to have the equals to true, but I'm gonna. Then we will display our dialog buttons. Otherwise, we are going to do the opposite. And we don't actually need to do this show choices thing. We can say choices I.choice button dot invoke deactivate, because those are methods within the thing. Change state. Whoopsie daisy. True now is what we want up there. So if we've got choices, we want to set the buttons to be true. And I also want picking, we're going to set picking option to be true as well. So that we end up hitting this case down here. Now let's make sure I know where I'm going with my thought process. So when we then pick an option, after we've picked an option, we want to say picking option equals false, and we're going to change state false as well. So disable all of our buttons. We are actually, we're going to just change this to if we're not picking an option, then we'll do that. We want a public void. We've got the change button. So actually I'm going to take this method. I'm going to stick it down here. Keep everything together. We are going to cut this and we're going to say if picking option is true, then we can do it. So that we're not changing things when they're hidden or selecting things when they're hidden. Oh no, I've been an idiot. So if we're not picking an option, then we can do that. Otherwise, we want to say choices at button index dot button choice button dot activate. I don't think activate is the one that I want to use, but we also want to say picking option equals false and change state false as well. Okay, cool. I think that's actually the this method done. We're probably gonna have to make some tweaks to the button script now. Oh, it's not gonna let me stick that back in there. But I believe that's our menu button controller done. Let's just make sure there's no errors, logical errors that I've missed. I believe we're fine. Cool. Let's have a look at the menu button. Here we go. Yeah. So we want a public Unity event, which we need to import. Need to be using the Unity engine.events namespace, and then we will call this button click event, and we will add a new void, public void on button. No, we'll call it clicked, or just click. We'll call it click. Then we will say button click event question mark dot invoke. So if the event is not null, we will invoke, and we will also do a debug dot log button was clicked. Not clicker, clicked. So that we know that the button was in fact clicked. Now, here's where the kind of jammy bit comes in. We are going to actually disable our game manager script as well as our player input manager temporarily. And I'm going to go onto my dialog UI and add a player input. I've realized I do have an error here, being that the animator menu has an animator and I want this to be new. That should solve my problem. Nope. The same field name is serialized multiple times in the class. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to give it a new name. Bums. Come on, let's call it box animator. Something like that. That should stop it from complaining. Or I could just get rid of it. No, is it not having that? Because I'm pretty sure menu has it's private protected. Get rid of this key down bool as well because it's kind of useless. There we go. That's cool. We don't have any errors. Everything's working. We've got 10 minutes to see if this is actually going to work. So I want to... Oh. No, that's fine, that's fine. So on all of these buttons, in our button click event, we are going to call a method on dialog box, which is update dialog. Where is it? Is it dialog UI? Do I mean? Yes, dialog box controller. We are going to do, where is it? Update dialog entry, and we are going to use oh no, I don't want to do that. Let's try this again, shall we? We are going to make a new method, public void choose option, which is going to take a integer. In fact, I don't think I even need to do that. I don't think I even need to activate the button. Maybe I do. So what I need to do is basically have it so that when you click the button, it will display the next dialogue that's related to that choice. So I need to think of a good way to do that and how to have that information. That information is stored in the class. And whichever button I click, yeah, instead of activating the button, I should just be able to do update dialog entry with choices, choice buttons, button index dot option dot dialog. No, what's it called? My dialog object. Oh wait, no, it's not choice button, it's choices. That should work. And when you press confirm, it's going to do. Okay, well, let's first of all, have I got the close condition? I do not. So this is the last thing now, and then we should be able to see it working. 5 minutes. Here we go. Oh no, I do have the close position. So if we're not picking an option, yeah, cool. Okay, so the actions, we're going to use player input. We are going to be using, doesn't matter, we want to be using UI though. As our default map, we are going to invoke Unity events, and we want to have submit do confirm the confirm. I'm just going to put a callback context on here and be using that, and do a quick if context.performed. So I'm gonna be majorly refactoring a fair bit of this because we won't be using the input system directly in here. Really, I should be doing the same with the change button, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Dialog box controller confirm. Navigate, we are going to use the same object. Dialog box controller change button. Oh, I can't do it like that. Let's just put in 1 every time, so it doesn't matter what I press. It's gonna it's gonna do 1. Oh, moment of truth. Let's see if it works. It would probably be helpful if when we update the, or when we do display entry. Oh no. This is, let's just do animator.set bool. Come on. Set bool in dialogue true. Oh, I know there's going to be something that doesn't work. There's going to be something wacky. Nope. But we'll see. Default dialogue entry. As you can see, I don't have interesting things to say. Ah, there we go. Issue there, null reference exception. Line 73. Choices dot button. Oh. Right, I've got to fix that. It will be a choices I dot choice dot button text equals choices I dot choice button. This is a really jammy way of doing things. I'm gonna have to think of a better solution. Choices I dot choice button dot get child, get component in children. That works. Type of text mesh pro UGUI. Oh, yes. And it selects them. Okay. So I pick... No, not really. Ha! Another error. What we got? Null reference exception on line 45. 45. Why is it doing that? Oh, I didn't actually set the... not cool. Goes in there, and cool goes in here. So let's say really cool. No, still a null set, null pointer. Which I don't think it should be. Gonna have to do some debugging. Right, so what we do here is we attach the debugger to Unity. I need to do start debugging. I want to stick a breakpoint on here, this method breakpoint. Let's stick it on this line here so we can step through. So we want to pick really cool. Okay, so let's have a look. Picking option is true. So if we, which one's which? Step over, step into, step out, step into, that goes here. Then we go next. Choices, button index, my dialog object. Am I not setting the dialog object? No, I should be. Let's have a look, shall we? Choices. What's button index equal to? Doesn't say. Base. Button index is 1. So there we go, we do have the dialog object, so we are going to update dialog. Oh, I stepped over. Bombs. Oh, it's because it's fired it off twice, I think. Shouldn't have fired it off twice though. Let's try this again. Let's try this again. Press the wrong button. There we go, right. Let's hit the play button. Okay. We're gonna have to press play every time till we get to here. We want to pick, doesn't matter. So let's double check again. Button index is 1. Choice buttons 1 dot, nope. Choices 1. It's got the cool dialogue in there, which is the one that we've clicked. So let's step into it. And again, dialogue is equal to cool dialogue. So we go next. Current dialogue is equal to cool dialogue. Go next. It's got two strings. So that's that. So where does this null pointer exception come from? There was literally nothing null there that I missed. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm gonna have to take some extra time to look into that one. But seeing as we've hit the 10 o'clock mark, I'm gonna end the stream there. That's unfortunate. Unfortunate that it's causing hassle. But what can you do? I'll figure it out at some point, and you will likely hear about it in this week's devlog, which will be going up on either Saturday or Sunday. Probably Sunday, as I'll spend Saturday making it and then upload it on the Sunday. Just want to put a big thank you out again to all of the growth that's happened on the channel and everyone who's subscribed in the last week. Like I say, we've gone from like 170 up to 321 subscribers in that week, which is amazing, and it's awesome to have all of you extra guys coming along to support me and support this game and this channel. It really means a lot, and I hope I can keep bringing value to you guys and creating enjoyable content and stuff that people enjoy watching. So with that said, thank you very much all those who came to the stream, all those who are still here now, and anybody who came at any point before. Thanks for hitting the subscribe button. If you haven't already, please do. And I will see you in the devlog on Saturday/Sunday. And if not, then I will see you in the next live stream